So this is Noel Maurice from the Best New Bands radio show, and we're very excited to have in our studio, not in our studio, but in different studios, as our studio guest, regardless, Cherry from the brand new, can I call you a hipster duo? Very hip.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, brand new hipster alt country duo, that's what I like to call them, of Jack and Cherry, about their new songs and their experience of being in Berlin and stuff. So hello, Cherry.
Hi, Noel.
Hi,
how are you?
I'm okay. Let's talk about you then. Yeah, I put this hat on. I wanted to ask you about it before the interview, but may as well ask you about it in the interview because I'm just having a really bad hair day. So I'm not I'm not one of those weird people that wears hats like this usually, but it's a bad hair day, and you know it is.
It's very, very trendy.
Thank you. Do you have bad hair days, Cherry? Tell us about your
Sorry?
bad hair days. Tell us about your bad hair days.
Oh no, I don't have any bad hair days.
Okay. Wow, that's
it's like
so
that
cool.
every day. I'm getting out of my bed look.
Cool, amazing, amazing. I look perfect when I get out of my bed, but the days that happen through the day make me look weird. That's actually what usually happens. So you and Jack have been working together as a duo for how long? Tell me how it came about.
So Jack and I started, technically, I want to say a little bit more than a year ago. We started to work very, very slowly on songs. So we met 4 years ago, and we were very good friends. And I think it just came quite naturally after a while that we just sat down together, and I showed him one of my lyrics because I was doing music on my own before, and I was always writing songs, but I think I was lacking the other part of what would make me complete as like
the backing
an
guitar.
Artist. You don't ever say that to him. And I don't know, one day we just sat down, we were having a drink, and I just showed him some of my lyrics, and I think he just grabbed his guitar and started playing around, and then we just come up with the first single that we released. Actually, that was the first song that we wrote together, Bet on Me. And it turned out really good, and all of our friends really liked it, so we just decided to continue. And I had many notebooks full of lyrics, and I just gave it to him, and I was like, just take a look, see if you like it. And then we just built it from there.
So he kind of picked out bits of lyrics that he liked and thought could work into something.
That's how we started. Mainly, I usually come up with like poems or lyrics. I always try to structure it as much as I can as a song, but I think at the end of the day, they turned out to be more like dark poems or like a little bit lyrical things. And then I just show him, and then he come up with a melody, and then we just now we managed to build it together as a song for real. But yeah, it started like that, just me giving in lyrics, him looking at it, and then we build it from here.
No, it's really nice that it really happened in such an organic way, you know, because I think that's not so, it doesn't happen so often these days.
Happens on his own, really.
Yeah, and of course, I mean, you know, I'm not going to hide the fact that we knew each other before, you and me, and so it was also interesting for me because, as you say, your group of friends I kind of knew Jack as well and never really heard him play, and I knew you and I never heard you sing. And at some point, I think we were like setting up a gig for someone else, and Jack just kind of got up on the stage and to try out the sound for them and just kind of strummed and sang a few things, and I was like, wow, that's really good. And then at some point I heard you sing and I was like, wow, that's really good. And then later I found out that you had just recently got together and started singing together, and it just happened really nicely. Yeah. So
it happened very organically, and to be honest, it was very surprising at first because it felt like every time I would give him some lyrics, he would write a melody or like a guitar chord progression that would fit exactly the mood I had in my head for that song. So it's very curious. Even one day, quite recently, I think a few months ago, I sent him some lyrics, and let's say the phrasing of the lyrics, he was actually playing guitar in his room while I was just sending him the lyrics, like as a coincidence, and he just started playing it, and it was fitting perfectly with the phrasing of my writing. So he just sent me a voice message being like, dude, this is kind of crazy, listen to this. And then he just read my lyrics on the chord progression and the melody that he had in his mind, and it just was perfectly fitting.
That's completely cool.
So that kind of works out. And of course, there's a lot of work. We spend a lot of hours arguing and never agreeing on anything when we write songs. But
there's
honestly,
a weird sound coming from. There's like a sound of like Darth Vader dragging himself one-legged through someone's living room. Is that in your flat?
I wish, but no.
Is it okay now? Every now and then it goes.
I think it may be the ghost. I have a ghost in my room.
Ah, the ghost. Yeah. The ghost usually try and get in on the action. We'll just keep that as like to make it live and authentic. So you got together and then suddenly, and you played a few shows before everything got locked down suddenly. But,
so we had our first show last summer, actually. So it was also my first time singing on stage. Joel played in a band before, but for me it was the first time actually singing for people, which was very interesting and very very fulfilling. Actually, I really enjoyed it, and it was way less awful than I had in my head. You know, when you're thinking that everybody's gonna laugh and that you're gonna forget the lyrics. And no, it was really fun. We had our first gig last summer, and then since then we had a few shows around Berlin. I would say maybe 5, 6 or something here and there, and we've done a few open mics. So I guess for us, like until the lockdown, it was more about practicing how we're behaving on stage, how like also get to know each other on stage, which is completely different that when, you know, you're just inside your flat writing songs. But I think it was also, getting to know each other, getting to understand the crowd's reaction, because also we never really played these songs to anyone before, except maybe to 1 or 2 people. And then it turned out like people actually liked it. So it was a good result for us. And until now, we've been recording a few songs, mainly just me and Jack. Like there was nothing, we didn't want to start with a band quite yet, because we felt like we needed to construct the song a bit progressively, and we didn't want to sell a product that we couldn't deliver live. So the goal for us was just to record guitar, maybe a few things here and there, but just voice and guitar, and it was the main product that we wanted to have. So that's why our first singles are very demo-ish, because they're just very straightforward. This is what we do, and this is who we are. So that's what we've been doing until now. So we have our next single coming out on the 23rd of May, which is called Just My Luck. It's a song that I wrote many years ago, actually, but we kind of played with it a little bit. And then we have another one coming up mid-June, and that's it for all the songs that we recorded until now. So now the goal is to actually put together a band, which we managed to do.
So give us a little introduction to the single, and then we're going to play that song.
So Just My Luck is it's very different to any other song that we usually write, because as I said, it's a song that I wrote before, and for this one I'm actually singing basically alone on it. And it's more of a light, cute ballad. It's not so sad. It's not the sad country American, I think, that we usually do. So it's actually more of a funny, quirky, sassy song, and we tried to make something a bit more summery. And it's recorded very, very straightforward. I didn't want to build it up too much. And the point was for this song to have like a bit of a lighter aspect, and to show that Jack and Cherry are not only the sad bet on me type of like ballad that we write, but also the play on words, and you know, something
to show your lighter, funnier side.
Exactly. So this is why we decided to record that one, and initially it was supposed to be more of a B-side to an EP or anything that we wanted to release, but then now we're just decided to just release single after single because of the quarantine. We just figured that we just had to keep working and like continue releasing. So we just released it as a single. But yeah, I actually very like it. It's very fresh, I think, compared to everything else. And the song itself is if you listen to the lyrics, it's very straightforward actually, and it's mainly about fuckboys and how sometimes you can let yourself do something that you don't really want, but then you're kind of feeling lazy and bored. So if you're missing so much in your life, then you just go ahead with like the song is mainly written from, I want to say, a fuck girl point of view. Not necessarily it's about fuck boys, but it's mainly also about like being one. And most of the time we always think that the other is responsible for our unhappiness, but at the end of the day we all do it. So I think that's pretty much what it is, but it's very straightforward. So if you listen to the lyrics, which you will see now, you'll hear that it's actually very clear when you just listen to it.
What an intro.
Very long.
And here's the song.
It was on a cold, cold night. I went to a party, didn't want to impress. Indeed, I feel so lousy these days. I guess it's just my luck. Drinking whiskey for my health. You came to me talking shit about yourself. You look quite fine, but you bring me down. And you're getting on my nerves. Don't want your name.
Don't want your name.
I don't want your love.
Don't want your love.
Want you to take your skinny jeans off. That would be just my luck. 10 weeks later still try to impress, but boy, you are so full of shit. You sound just like a very bad joke. I guess it's just my luck. I don't have to be your baby, I don't have to be your lady. I just need your body and my desperation. On a cold, cold night, I went to this party. I didn't want to impress. Indeed, I feel so lousy these days. I guess it's just my luck. Don't want your name.
Don't want your name.
I don't want your love.
Don't want your love.
Want you to take your skinny jeans off. That would be just my luck. Don't want your name.
Don't want your name.
I don't want your number.
Want your number.
Want you to take those skinny jeans off. That would be just my luck.
And that was Just My Luck from Jack and Cherry. World premiere right here on the Best New Bands radio show on Alex FM 91.0. Cool. So are you going to go on the lighter and funnier side, or is that kind of just a little sparkle and generally it's more kind of like sad tales of woe?
Oh, we're very sad people. I guess
That's
this
nice.
song. This song was very dear to my heart, so I really wanted to do something with it. But no, I mean our new songs are. Well, now that's the difference. Is like whenever we've been writing, because now during the quarantine, I wrote a few, like 3 or 4 texts, I think lyrics, and then I passed it on to Joel, and we started to work on something a little bit. And now what I've come to realize is that we're building the songs as if we were picturing having a band with us.
Mm-hmm.
So we're trying to build something a little bit more with the rhythm might be a bit different. That's just a melancholic Jack and Cherry ballad that we usually do.
Okay, cool. Sounds good. And so I just wanted to talk briefly about the your song lyrics and where you kind of get the inspiration from or what you write about. And for example, I know that you have a very interesting backstory that you wandered around the world, taking on various personas, doing things. So Tell us about that. I was wondering if that kind of, was where you kind of some of your things that you wrote in notebooks came from. But so you were in New York and Australia and you studied weird stuff and.
Yeah, to say the least, I think we can say that I've been pretty much everywhere. I traveled quite a bit. I studied a lot of different things. It goes from psychology to neuroscience to communication. So I was always a sucker for learning new stuff, and traveling was always also something that was kind of an itch since I was a teenager. So as soon as I graduated from high school, it was a matter of finishing my studies and then go explore. So yeah, I lived in New York, I lived in Australia, I lived in Barcelona. So every year I would kind of move country. I was kind of like a nomad, or and I always had a notebook with me. So I guess my writing is mainly you can, if you want to, you can always apply it to any relationships or love interest kind of lyrics. But if you listen to it and if you go a little bit further into it, you can understand that it's not necessarily about that either. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of what I'm trying to achieve also with the lyrics that I write, and that's what we try also to transpose it to Jack's melodies, is to make sure that everybody can relate to them, but that it could be basically about anything. It could be a heartbreak, or it could be anything that you're going through in life. Really, what I'm interested in is that people can listen to it and just like have the quirky smile and think, oh yeah, been through that. I know what she's, So yeah, I think my travels, of course, like made me look at things a bit differently, and I really like poetry. So for me, it's really important. The words that we choose in the song, every word, they have a meaning, and I really want to keep this. And this is also why there's always a bit of arguments in between like Jack and me. It's just always because the melody or the music, not necessarily, like sometimes you have to change some stuff in the text, and I have to say that I am the worst at letting go of some things. But yeah, for me it's really important to have exactly the meaning that I'm trying to say behind every word, and everything is very thought through. Every word means, there's always like a deep secret behind every word. And I could talk about my lyrics for hours, but that's for another interview.
Yes, for our next interview.
But yeah, for me it's very important. Words are, singing the words are the translation of what's going on in my head, and it's not very political, it's not very societal, I don't know, but it's very personal, that's for sure.
Okay, cool. Yeah, and one thing that I was thinking about is that you used to do events, and we've organized a few some events together, and obviously now there's the corona thing and there's no events going on, but what is I've been thinking about how maybe we can improve the music scene, or the thing for musicians and people working in the live industry, so that like when we come out of this lockdown, kind of maybe what we could improve from how it was before, because I think it's always very, very precarious for musicians, for everyone, but for musicians especially, and there's because there's not really any protection for them. Is there anything that you think about that?
Regarding the events in general, like in the music industry, I think everything is going to change now. I think it's going to be on a smaller capacity. I don't think there's going to be right away a lot of big concert happening. So I think maybe now it's going to change in the way that people are going to go to concerts differently. Maybe they're going to go in a more intimate way, and I think artists could also take advantage of that to actually really connect with the audience. Like I think the intimacy of a concert is really going to take over the big venues and the big concert happening. So I think that's actually quite good, because maybe we're going to have the opportunity to see some very big artists, or even in the alternative scene, like big artists that we really like, but maybe on a smaller scale. How cool would it be to see your favorite artist, but see it in a room with 30-40 other people, so that could actually be great. But I honestly, unfortunately, I can't read into the future yet. And I really don't know how it's going to turn out. I could be wrong, but I think everything is going to change now in the way that people go to concert, for sure. And as for artists, I think patience is the main thing. Like people are going to have to be super patient. And of course, as an ex-promoter, it was already difficult before to pay artists and to, make it sustainable as a promoter. And now as an artist, I also realized that we also need to get paid, or we also need to be supported. But now that I've seen both of them, I think both of the people are going to have to be very careful with what they do. And I think everybody's going to have to make an effort and be super patient, We can't ask, artists can't now ask to be paid a large amount of money to play a gig, and promoters can't expect, everything from the artists. So I think it's going to have to be a lot of concessions and listening to each other a lot. So I really have a good feeling, and I think it's going to actually be a good thing.
That'd be cool. Yeah, interesting. Yeah. There's also just something you said about big artists playing in smaller venues. Suddenly thought of, I think one of the last things Prince did was he went to London and played a month, every night for a month in I think 100-person club or something.
Exactly.
And that'd be amazing for us anyway, And interesting. I was thinking also about I quite like the idea of this universal basic income, and maybe just there could be a universal basic income for musicians kind of thing. It would make sense.
Yeah, that would make sense. But then some artists work harder than others, and some so.
I think we should do it, and I should get to decide who gets the money.
Sure. I think you should do that, and then you can choose me. So I don't have to work anymore.
Okay. Yeah, so it's been great having you in the studio for chat. Thank you very, very much, and for taking the time out of your busy schedule. And
super busy during quarantine.
And let's go out on one of your other songs. Which one would you like to have us play before we
Well, leave? I guess we can play Fall Through. It's the last single that we released, so we can play it now if you want.
Okay. Before we go, because we're going to play out on this, and then just because otherwise I did forget. Is there anything else that you'd like to tell anyone or inform anyone of? So your song is coming out on the 23rd of May, everywhere, I guess?
Everywhere, all platform. Please follow us on Facebook. We're Jack and Cherry on Instagram. I think it's Jack and Cherry Band. But you'll find us everywhere on all platform. And YouTube, we have some live videos of the last single that we recorded, Fall Through. We did a live recording. So the song is actually one take live recording at Funk House, and we made a little video with it. So of course, if you can give us a follow, give us a like. Of course, always get in touch if you like it and if you want to have a chat, because I am bored. So yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, so Fall Through from Jack and Cherry. Thank you very much. We'll talk soon.
Thank you.
Another plane, another train, another start fresh with others. But God, I miss my mother. Been on the road for so long, days went by, it felt wrong. Nothing to give from my own, nothing but these broken bones.
And that's surely why you kissed her in light, but holding me in your arms.
I couldn't bet on me, so how could you? And I wouldn't bet on me, so why would you? Been drunk for days on my own. They say there's no place like home. Trying to drown out the sound, try and keep my feet on the ground. My friends tell me just ask for Jack, but turns all my blues into blacks. If you find me in the morning, colder than steel, tell me, what would you feel?
And that's surely why you kissed her in light, when holding me in your arms.
I couldn't bet on me, so how could you? I wouldn't bet on me, so why would you? I couldn't bet on me, so how could you? I wouldn't bet on me, so why would you? Another plane, another train, another plane, another train.